Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are. So the topic for today is debt. Good debt versus bad debt, right? So you have on one side of the ring good debt, and you have on the other side of the ring bad debt. And you have in the middle someone else, which this is Dave Ramsey. Basically, he's a guy that always says all debt is bad, right? So which is true, which is not true? I'm here to point out some facts today, and maybe you can make your own decision, right? So, quick disclaimer, none of this is financial advice, purely my own opinion. Please do your own research before making any decisions in general, right? Not just any financial decisions, right? Do your own research, come to your own conclusions, make your own decisions. So, point number one, what is debt? So, essentially what debt is a sum of money that is owed or due to anyone, right? Can be your friend, can be a bank, can be relatives, whatever it is, or student loans, whatever. Or also, things that can be owed for like a job or anything, right? So basically, debt is like credit and something which is owed. Just think of it that way. So what does bad debt include, right? Just hopping right into it. So I just want to take a look at the average debt for millennial right now. So for credit card debt, it's over 4,000. However, for in general debt, it's about 38,877. So the debt has increased 39% more than any generation, and baby boomers held the second largest amount of average debt, right? But I would say this is probably not as reflective because some of them went through really inflationary periods, which helped them basically lower the real debt they had to pay back, right? I'll get into that in detail later. But basically, what is bad debt? I'm going to go over bad debt first. So bad debt includes unnecessary student loans, personal loans that are used to buy things, right? Just like, some people take like a small personal loan, small credit line just to buy maybe some shoes or some bags or something. That's definitely bad debt, right? Credit card debt, if used improperly. I'm going to explain how credit card can be used properly after I finish this. Margin debt, right? This is something that you want to avoid no matter what, right? A lot of people use it when we buy, when they buy stocks. Never ever go into margin debt. The reason, the difference between margin debt and like a fixed loan for real estate is massive, right? Because a fixed loan, they can't force you to sell an asset, right? So margin debt, if an asset is worth, let's say $10, but the price moves to $5 because that happens in the stock market, right? They just force you to sell your whole position and you're stuck with zero now, right? So never ever do that. And in general, it's any other forms of credit that does not produce a positive return, right? So you want to avoid anything that produces a negative return. And what is a positive return? Here, positive return is basically a profit or money made on an investment or venture, right? Likewise, a negative return represents a loss, right? So avoid losses, get those sweet gains, right? So unnecessary student loans. Not all student loans are bad, by the way. I'm not saying don't go study or whatever, but some things are really worth more than others, right? Like getting a degree if you're a medical student to become a doctor. Getting a degree if you're becoming a lawyer, those are all valid things because without those things, there's no way you can pursue those dreams that you want if you want to be a lawyer or if you want to be a doctor, right? And there's no way you can make that amount of money without the degree. Anyways, you can't be a lawyer or a doctor without the degree, right? But things like business school, maybe economics, things like that, maybe learning how to invest as well. All of these things, I feel like they are very cheap or cheap, I would say, like books. That's where I find the most value, and also free, not exactly free because you have to pay for Wi-Fi and electricity, but free, quote unquote free, would be YouTube, right? Like this video right now. So smash the like button if you enjoy the free content. So personal loans that are used to buy things, right? Definitely, if you're gonna buy a bag or shoes, don't take out loans, right? Don't buy things that you can't afford. And credit card debt. Okay, this is a very subjective one because some credit cards offer you rewards and all. So if you use a credit card like a debit card, right, you would okay, basically the people that the banks hate the most are credit card users that act like their credit cards are debit cards and they pay off everything in full every month, right? The people that banks love the most are people that never pay off in full. They pay the minimal requirement payment, and basically they just have their credit card debt forever, right? Because if we look at the credit card rates, it's 24%, right? So it's about 2% a month, and even if you can make more than 2% a month on the credit card debt, basically like you borrow for 2% and you make let's say 5% a month, you would still look for other sorts of financing, right? Because you don't want your profits to basically get drained by the interest payments. So yeah, you can use credit card debt properly if you just use it like a debit card, basically. That helps you build up your credit score. I'm not sure whether I have that in my country. I personally don't have a credit card because I don't spend much with credit card. Personally, my country's economy is still very much ran on cash. So yeah, I don't really have a credit card, right? And I also don't do grocery shopping and all that because I live with my parents, right? So yeah, credit card debt, it can be used in both ways, right? And if you use a credit card like a debit card, basically you get a 30-day free loan, and also you get to build your credit score, and also you get the rewards from whatever the credit card rewards are, right? Like you have to go check around which are the best credit card rewards for you and all, right? And the last thing is there's a few methods. I don't know whether people's financials carry this ability, but some methods allow you to basically sell the credit card debt from one bank to another bank. Maybe when they're running promotions or something, it's basically free, right? But not free, but a few percentage points, right? Maybe 3 or 4% in my country anyways. So basically you can sell your debt to another bank for 3 or 4% for 1 year, right? But after that, it goes back to the normal 24%. But basically, if you roll over your debt from one bank to another bank, you can do it indefinitely, and basically you just pay about 4%. So that's basically as good as a fixed loan, right? So yeah, next, what is good debt? Good debt includes any debt that helps you build wealth, right? So basically, again, this, right? Achieving a positive return, right? So any debt that helps you achieve a positive return, I'm gonna go through a real estate example after this. But yeah, any debt that helps you build wealth includes mortgages, a good education, and in general, any debt that you can generate higher yield than the interest rate. A good education can include books. For example, I always think books are one of the best educational tools because they're cheap, and also you're reading from people that are basically achieved, right? Like let's say you read Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, Howard Marks, these kind of books, because they've already done the things that you want to do, right? So these are also considered investments in my view. So a mortgage, yeah, we'll go through that next. But in general, any debt that generates a higher yield than the interest rate. So basically, if you're getting charged 5%, but you can make 6%, basically that's a higher yield than the interest rate. Obviously, you wouldn't want to make like only 6% because you're scared that the spread thins. Basically, you go from 6% to 5%. Suddenly, you're not making any money, and you have a loan that you don't really want, right? And you got into some assets that may not be able to be so easily sold off to get you the money to repay that loan. So yeah, so just remember, any debt that helps you build wealth, that you can generate a positive yield that is higher than the interest, yeah, that is in general good debt. So before I continue, so join our Telegram channel, link below. There's an alerts channel and there's a community channel. So do join it and chat with the community, right? Like getting rich alone, I don't know, maybe it's not my thing, maybe it's something for other people, but yeah, in general, just like I feel like good company is always accompanied by good times, right? So okay, next point number 4, a real estate example. So you buy a property for $1 million, 150,000 down, which is about 15% down. It is 15% down. So 850,000 finance. And as long as the rental covers the interest payments plus the maintenance and miscellaneous costs, you are breaking even, right? So let's see how much you need to have to break even, right? Like the rental. So I'm 850. times, let's say your interest rate is 4.5%. Sorry. So, okay, basically you have to pay about, okay, maybe I should use the whole number. That's times 100, is it? Times 1,000. 850, yeah, times 1,000. Okay, so basically you have to have a rental yield per month of about $3,187 in order to afford that 850,000 mortgage. So because the 150,000 is already down, right? So if you have this and you have some miscellaneous costs, let's just call it 200. So if your rental is about 3,400, you can afford, and basically you're breaking even on the property, right? And breaking even on a property is sometimes good enough because let's say your property goes from 1 million to let's say it goes up 30% in price, okay? 1.3, so it's now 1.3 million, right? But when you sell it, let's say let's just assume that you never pay off anything. So you sell it and basically you sell it for 800. You pay off the loan for 850k. I'm not like putting in any figures for closing costs, nothing like that, right? So to make the calculations more simple. So essentially you turn 150k into 450k, which is a 200% gain, right? 300% return, but 200% gain. I don't know how you guys would like to look at it, but basically you turn 150k to 450k, which is you make a profit of 200%. And it's not that hard for real estate to go up 30% in maybe 4 or 5 years. So to triple your money in 4 or 5 years in the stock market is much harder than in real estate, right? But in general, it only works for smaller sums because some people wouldn't be able to afford the mortgage payments on the bigger sums as well, right? Because you have to remember, it might be that sorry, I need to go back to the calculator. It might be that your mortgage is on interest payment is only 3,400, right? In the US they have interest only, but in my country you have to pay both the mortgage and the interest payment, right? So if it's 3,400, basically you can double it, and basically you have to pay this every month, right? So if you don't have the cash flow, you only have 3,400 in rental, you don't have the cash flow to support it, which most people won't, because like that's a lot of extra money that you have to fork out, right? Because you still have to have your lifestyle and all that, right? So basically most of the time, real estate in my country anyways has negative free cash flow, right? Which makes it a bit harder to acquire than maybe in the US where it's interest only, right? So yeah, that's the real estate example. Hope I explained it properly. Hope I didn't butcher the whole explanation, right? But yeah, if you don't understand, maybe in future you guys can comment below and I'll explain again, right? Maybe I'll have a video explaining it, just like one whole video, right? So yeah. So next, tips and tricks to avoid bad debt, right? There's no point that I tell you what is bad debt, but I don't tell you like how to avoid it, right? So the first rule for credit cards is use a credit card like a debit card, right? Never use a credit card thinking like, oh, it's free money or whatever it is. It's free money, but only for 30 days. After that, it's very, very expensive money, right? So yeah, be the bank's worst customer, right? Not in any other form, but for credit card customers, you want to be generally the bank's worst customer, right? You want to pay on time every month. Don't give them a single cent of interest. Yeah, that's how you want to treat your banker, right? So second, avoid any unnecessary education. I know a lot of people that maybe I don't know people personally, but I've read a lot of people get degrees that they can't even get jobs for. Maybe they get like I heard a funny joke once. Basically this person studied archaeology for Egyptian symbols, and after he graduated he couldn't get a job, so he got a master's degree in those symbols, and literally in his case it's literally a pyramid scheme, right? Because Egypt pyramid scheme. Okay, maybe you guys don't get that joke, but hopefully you did. Hopefully I'm slightly funny. So even though people think it's a compulsory, more often than not it's not, right? Think of how many business MBAs there are that don't know anything about business, right? Because all they know is how to study books, right? So yeah, we want to avoid being those people, right? And if it saves us $100,000 in the process, like, don't mind me, I'll take that, right? So in general, avoid financing anything that you can't really afford, right? Let's say you need a car, but you can't afford a brand new car, right? So go and buy a second-hand car, drive it for a couple of years before you can before you build up savings and before you can afford the car that you actually want, right? So don't just think that, oh, I want everything to be perfect now, because in life, most of the time, delayed gratification is better than short-term gratification, right? So only do things that you can afford. So point number 6, to take advantage of good debt, you essentially just have to make a higher return than the interest rates. Sounds much easier than it is due to the risk involved, because something that is like, let's say you borrow money at 4.5% interest rate per annum, and you have an opportunity where you can make maybe 6-7%. But you have to realize that opportunities don't last forever, right? And if you have to put in the money, and basically you can't get the money out like easily, so you have to consider all those risks, right? What if you think, oh, this business has a steady 6 to 7% yield, but after you put in the money, a lot of competition springs up, and suddenly your business is doing only 3% yield, and you're losing 1.5% per annum, right? So those are much like big things to think about, right? Don't just focus on making the money, right? Focus on how sustainable it is. Focus on whether things will change, whether it can be disrupted, things like that, right? It's very important, right? Because that's usually the kind of debt that gets people into trouble is, firstly, credit card debt. Secondly, a mortgage which is just way too big. And third on the list is probably this, right? They don't know how to take advantage of the debt. So they think, they look at the short term and they think that, oh, I can make maybe, for stocks, for example, a lot of people take out loans to go and invest in stocks. But you have to realize stock prices don't always go up. And what happens when the stock goes down? Are you gonna take the loss? Are you gonna need to change a lot in order to repay the loan? Yeah, things like that, right? Don't get yourself stuck in that kind of position. So in conclusion, debt, not all debt is all bad or all good as people claim. Debt is like anything else. It's just a tool, right? Unfortunately, like a tool, like options, like futures trading, whatever it is, it's misused in most cases, right? Thus leading it to the bad reputation it has, because everyone is like, oh my god, I got in debt and now I'm like an alcoholic and now I'm addicted to drugs because, I'm just so stressed. At the end of the day, it's just a tool, and tools that are properly used can accelerate the task at hand. Basically, if you want to get closer to financial independence, you can buy real estate, and if you use the tools properly, if you do your calculations, things like that. And maybe I didn't mention it, but real estate is probably one of the best ways to build wealth when you have a little amount of money, right? And also you can afford the payments, right? That's something else as well. So credit score, other things like that. But again, it's just a tool that you can use to buy the real estate that will accelerate the task at hand, which is financial independence, right? And vice versa. If you use tools improperly, let's say you use a machete and you use it improperly, you might chop off your hand, right? So yeah, we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to lose our hands or fingers in the process of trying to build wealth, right? So yeah, that's all for today. So do smash up the like button, smash the subscribe button, and hit the bell button for more notifications. Comment below, right? What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Maybe you think all debt is bad. Maybe you think all debt is good. So share it with friends and family, right? I feel like this kind of information, even though, yeah, it helps me out, but definitely I would really appreciate if you share it to someone which can really use this information, right? Because the point of this channel is to help out as many people as possible with financial literacy, right? So yeah, with that being said, thank you very much for watching till the very end. Hope you have a fantastic day ahead, and peace out.